We are in for a treat you will love. We're joined today by Mary Rapoport with the Virginia Egg Council. Mary, it's wonderful to see you.
You know, it's fun to be here, and I'm so glad that I'm working with you today, Jess, because I suggest that you make this with your girls, because I think they would really love it.
I cannot wait to go through these steps. You are going to show us how to put together Baked Alaska. Now,
Baked Alaska.
You're taking us on a journey, Mary, because I'm not sure I would have been brave enough to try this myself, let alone get the girls involved. So show us the magic.
I think they would really enjoy it. Let me just tell you what a Baked Alaska is like if you were doing it for a crowd. Okay, so when I first made Baked Alaska, I actually used a great big bowl, lined it with plastic wrap, filled it with vanilla ice cream on the sides and the bottom, then put a whole quart of sherbet in there, covered it, froze it. Once it was frozen solid, I flipped it out onto a cake layer. You can visualize that, right? The cake layer is on a cookie sheet. And then I frosted the entire thing with meringue and then kept it in the freezer until it's time to bake. You bake it and the ice cream doesn't melt because it's all insulated with the meringue. And then you bring it out and everybody's going crazy because it's so spectacular. But we're not doing crowds. It feeds about 12 people.
Yeah.
So we're not doing crowds right now. So I was thinking, let's do little baked Alaskas, which I've done before. And this is perfect for Valentine's Day. And I think getting the kids involved really, it's very special to have them, bring it to daddy or something, right?
Absolutely. They've taken ownership in the process and they're incredibly proud of it, as I would be myself if I managed to somehow bake ice cream.
6 or 7 years old and saying, yeah, I know how to make baked Alaska. So we're going to start off with the first step, which is the cake layer. But this makes it a little bit different. My husband's a chocoholic. So instead of just doing a plain cake layer, I'm using, I made brownies. And, the layer of cake is not the main event, so I used a mix. After I baked it, and it cooled a little bit, now you can see I have parchment here. You can just take the whole thing out on the counter if you want to, or you can do it right in the pan. I have these little custard cups. They're 3.5 inches in diameter. Many people have them. You get them at the dollar store, and they're great for all kinds of things. I know that they will go in the freezer and they won't break, but you can use any kind of cup you have that's about that size. And then you cut this will make 6 portions right here. And so I'm going to take the portion right here that I made and put it on my cookie sheet. The neat thing is there's space left. And if you have a little tiny heart-shaped cutter, you can use those space. Wouldn't the girls love this?
Yes, and you're maximizing. I mean, who wouldn't love to have a few brownies to nibble on?
Well, you have these little scraps to nibble on, too. So there are going to be 2 of us, my husband and myself, on Valentine's. So I'm putting 2 on a cookie sheet. If in your case you'd have 4 on a cookie sheet. That's step 1. Step 2 is to do the ice cream. Again, I'm using those little bowls because I know they're not going to crack in the freezer. I line it with plastic wrap like this. This one has already been lined with vanilla ice cream. Do you see there's like a hole in the center? I just use a little spatula and put that in there. And then I'm going to you can use any kind of sherbet, but I like sherbet in here because it has a tartness that counteracts the sweetness of everything else. And you want your ice cream and your sherbet to be room temperature. You know how ice cream is when you come back from the grocery store, not rock solid. That's the temperature, about 20 minutes or so, sitting it out. And then you just fold this over like this, press it down flat. You want it perfectly flat. That's going to go in the freezer. You want this frozen solid. Okay. So I've got that done. Let me go ahead and bring this back. I have a couple of these that are frozen solid. You pull it out. Now, sometimes it doesn't come out very easily because it's frozen in there. Just slip it in a bowl of warm water for, 10 seconds, and it'll come out. But you can see what I have right here. Make sure you have clean hands, and that's going to go on top of that.
And that answers my question, Mary. You put the saran wrap or the plastic wrap in the surface of the bowl. You did the vanilla ice cream, smushed it to the sides, and then put the sherbet in the middle.
Right, in the middle.
And then wrap the whole thing. Okay.
And wrap the whole thing up. That just wraps it up, put it back in the freezer. And so that's, I would do both of them like this. And this just stays in the freezer until you're ready to do the meringue. Okay, meringue. A lot of people are afraid of it. You have to start off with egg whites, and the only way to get egg whites is to separate them. So there we have it right here. So what I'm going to do, though, right now is I'm going to take the whites and let them come to room temperature. Remember, we separated them cold, take them to room temperature. Here's some that's been at room temperature. Something foamy like this. You just keep beating and beating until it gets really foamy, and then at that point, for every egg egg white, you're going to need 2 tablespoons of sugar. So you just start adding the sugar 1 tablespoon at a time. Okay, then, now this is all nice and frozen. This was 3 egg whites, and you can see it's just about filled a bowl. And you want it so that it's really stiff like this. At this point, you just put a glob on top of it, and then you smooth it all the way around like this. Just smooth it like this, and it doesn't matter. The cookie sheet has parchment on it, so the parchment's going to keep it really nice, and you're going to be able to slide it off there.
Perfection is not the name of the game at this point. It's getting a good coating.
At all. It's not important at all. Okay, so at this point, I do need to say you need to be thinking ahead, because this has got to go in the freezer. So you need to have a shelf or a place where, so eat a couple of meals out of your freezer. That stays in the freezer. And then you have your wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. Valentine's dinner or Thanksgiving, whenever the fancy, it could be your anniversary. It could be the birthday, the special birthday, the 10-year-old birthday or something. But then you're finishing the meal. The oven is at 375 degrees. Super important. It has to be really hot, 375 degrees. And then just before you want to serve it, you put that cookie sheet in the oven, all mounded. It's frozen solid, so you don't have to worry about it melting immediately. And then you keep an eye on it, and in 10 minutes, they will have browned beautifully. And here is a finished product. So gorgeous. And I put them on a tray like this. And actually, what I have done when I wanted to make a real show is this probably won't light now just because I want it to. I brought it to the table. You can put candles on it if it's someone's birthday, or you can put, this is of course not going to do. Okay, it's not doing. But anyway, you can put sparklers on it. Maybe it's too cold down here or something, but put sparklers on it. It's spectacular if you're doing it outside. Picture you coming outside, it's dark at the end of a wonderful celebration, and you bring out a platter full of these. And see what I did? I put the wonderful little chocolates on there. This is what it looks like when you cut it open. Can you see that? You can see the layers of ice cream and sherbet and the meringue. It's a spectacular dessert. I really want you to try it. Jess, please try it and then send me a picture.
An incredible demonstration. Thank you so much, Mary. You made it simple. I was a little apprehensive, but now I see the possibilities. Remind us where that recipe.
You can get the recipe right at your website, but also at virginiaeggcouncil.org. So please, if you don't make it today for this, you're going to have something special that you want a special dessert for. This will wow everyone.
It sure will. Baked Alaska. And guess what, Mary? I saw the sparklers in my mind. It would be spectacular.
Okay. I don't know why that didn't do it. But.
Thank you so much for sharing the recipe with us. We will have it on our website, WTVR.com, but you can also find it at VirginiaEggCouncil.org as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Happy Valentine's Day to all of you.
And same to you.